The morning sun rose over New Sol like it had done for the past 20 years. The colony world in the Kepler 442 system was peaceful. 200,000 people lived here. Most of them were families with children. They grew food in giant greenhouses. The food fed 3 other human colonies. Life was good here, safe, or so everyone thought. Captain Deho walked through the defense station. He was in charge of protecting the colony. His team was small. Just 50 soldiers. New Sol never needed more. Humans had been peaceful in space for 50 years. They made friends with alien species. They shared technology. They built schools and hospitals. Nobody expected trouble. In the main city, Administrator Minji checked the daily reports. The harvest was good this season. 2 new schools were opening next month. A medical center just received new equipment from Earth. Everything was normal. Everything was perfect. Then the alarm started screaming. Daiho ran to the sensor station. His hands shook as he read the display. 20 warships just appeared in orbit. Big ones, battle cruisers. They belonged to the Vraxian Empire. The Vraxians were an old and powerful alien species. They ruled 400 star systems. They were known for taking what they wanted. Daiho tried to contact them. He sent messages asking why they were here. He asked if they needed help. He got no answer. The Vraxian ships moved into attack positions. Their weapons powered up. Admiral Krath stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was the Vraxian commander. His orders were simple. Destroy the human colony. Take the planet. The humans were weak, new, unimportant. The Vraxian Empire wanted this system. That was all that mattered. Krath gave the order. His fleet opened fire. Plasma weapons rained down from space. The first hit destroyed the main power station. The city went dark. The second hit destroyed the hospital. 300 people died instantly. More hits followed. Schools, homes, greenhouses. The Vraxians were not aiming at military targets. They were destroying everything. Daiho watched in horror. His small defense guns fired back but did nothing. The Vraxian shields were too strong. He had to save whoever he could. He called Minji. Together they started evacuating people. Transport ships launched from the spaceport. Families ran toward them. Parents carried children. Old people helped each other. Everyone was screaming. The sky was full of fire. Buildings exploded all around them. Little Jiwon held her mother's hand. She was 9 years old. Her father carried her baby brother. They ran toward a transport ship. Behind them, their house exploded. The blast threw them forward. Her father covered the baby with his body. Her mother shielded Jiwon. When Jiwon opened her eyes, her parents were not moving. Blood was everywhere. Someone grabbed her and pulled her into an escape pod. Through the window, she saw her home burning. She saw the city dying. She would never forget this moment. Never. Daiho managed to get 3,000 people off the planet. 3,000 out of 200,000. The rest had no time. The bombardment was too fast. Too brutal. Minji stayed behind to help others escape. She was coordinating from the command center when a plasma bolt hit the building. She died trying to save others. The attack lasted 3 hours. When it ended, New Sol was gone. The cities were rubble. The greenhouses were ash. The people were dead. 197,000 humans died that day. 89,000 of them were children. Admiral Krath looked at the burning planet below. His job was done. The system now belonged to the Vraxian Empire. He did not think about the people who died. To him, they were just obstacles removed. He ordered his fleet to leave. They had other planets to conquer. Daiho's transport reached the nearest human outpost 5 days later. He had not slept, had not eaten. He just sat and stared at nothing. When he finally sent his report to Earth, his voice was empty. In 30 years as a soldier, he never cried. Until now. The news reached Earth. People could not believe it. New Sol was destroyed? Why? What did they do wrong? The Terran Council demanded answers. They called an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. Ambassador Hye-jin traveled to the council chambers. She brought evidence, videos, sensor logs, bodies. She showed everything to the 47 alien species who made the rules for the galaxy. She asked for justice. She demanded the Vraxians be punished. The Vraxian representative stood up. His name was Envoy Therax. He was cold and proud. He said New Sol violated old territorial laws. He said the humans built their colony in Vraxian space. He said his empire had the right to remove them. Hyejin could not believe what she heard. Those territorial laws were made 600 years ago. Before humans even had spaceships, how could humans violate laws they never knew existed? She argued. She pleaded. She showed pictures of dead children. The Galactic Council debated for hours. In the end, they issued a formal censure against the Vraxian Empire. A censure. Just words on paper. No punishment. No consequences. The council said they regretted what happened but could not act further. The Vraxians were too powerful. Humanity was too new and too weak. Hyejin returned to Earth. She reported to the Terran Council. She told them the truth. The galaxy would not help. Humanity was alone. If the Vraxians attacked again, the same thing would happen. Words of regret, but no real help. On Earth's moon, in a secret underground facility, Director Sunwoo sat in a meeting room. He was the head of Terran intelligence. He had been planning for this moment. He hoped it would never come. But now it had. Sunwoo placed a data tablet on the table in front of the Terran Council. On it were files. Secret files. Projects that humanity developed but never built. Weapons that were designed but never used. Technology that was tested but kept hidden. For 50 years, humanity showed the galaxy one face. The peaceful face. The friendly face. The face that built schools and shared medicine. The face that believed in cooperation and hope. That face got 197,000 people killed. Sunwoo looked at each council member. His voice was quiet but hard as steel. He said humanity always had another face. The face that knew how to fight. The face that could build terrible weapons. The face that understood survival sometimes required strength, not just hope. He tapped the tablet. Files unlocked. Project names appeared. Ghost Protocol, Dark Star, Prometheus Chain. Technologies beyond anything the galaxy had seen. Weapons that could change everything. The council members looked at the files in shock. They had no idea these projects existed. They asked why humanity built such things if they wanted peace. Sunwoo's answer was simple. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Humanity hoped for peace but prepared for war. Just in case. Now the worst had happened. The Vraxians killed children and faced no punishment. The galaxy told humanity to accept it. To know their place. To stay weak and hope for mercy. Sunwoo stood up. He looked at the council. He thought about New Seoul. About the children who would never grow up. About the parents who died protecting their families. About Captain Daeho's broken voice. About little Jiwon watching her home burn. He said the words that would change everything. The Vraxians wanted to see what humanity looked like when pushed. When their children were slaughtered. When the galaxy abandoned them. They would learn. The face humanity showed for 50 years was mercy. It was hope. It was belief in a better future. That face did not work. Now they would see humanity's other face. The real one. The one that remembered. The one that protected its own. The one that would make the Vraxians regret ever hearing the word human. 6 months passed since New Seoul burned. Deep in space orbiting Jupiter sat a secret station called Olympus. Most humans did not know it existed. Even fewer knew what happened inside. This was where humanity kept its darkest secrets, where scientists worked on projects the galaxy could never know about. Commander Yoonji walked through the research labs. She was in charge of Project Ghost Protocol. For 10 years, she and her team worked on this technology. Stealth ships. Not regular stealth that bent light. Something better. Something impossible. The Ghost Protocol made ships exist between dimensions. Part in normal space, part somewhere else. Sensors could not find them. Targeting systems could not lock on them. To every alien scanner in the galaxy, ghost ships simply did not exist. Yoonji tested the first ghost ship yesterday. It worked perfectly. The Vraxians would never see it coming. She thought about New Seoul, about the people who died. Her sister lived there. Her sister and 3 nieces. All gone now. This project was not just work anymore. It was personal. In another lab, Dr. Taewon checked his calculations one more time. He created Project Dark Star, weaponized black holes. Every other species in the galaxy used energy weapons, lasers, plasma, particle beams. Humanity would use gravity itself. A Dark Star missile created a tiny black hole when it hit a target. The black hole lasted only 8 seconds before disappearing. 8 seconds was enough. It pulled in metal, equipment, people, everything within 50 meters. Then it vanished, leaving nothing but empty space. Taewon never wanted to build weapons. He was a scientist. He studied the universe because it was beautiful. But after New Seoul, he understood. Sometimes beauty needed protection. Sometimes knowledge needed to become power. Engineer Soman finished her last test on Project Prometheus Chain. Nanite swarms, millions of tiny machines, each smaller than a grain of sand. Release them near an enemy ship and they would eat through the hull. Find the weapon systems. Disable everything. The ship would be helpless but intact. Crew alive but unable to fight. Soman designed Prometheus Chain to be merciful. It could kill if programmed that way. But it did not have to. Humanity could win without becoming monsters. That was important. That was the difference between humans and Vraxians. Director Sunwoo visited Olympus Station. He inspected each project, talked to each team. Everything was ready. The technology worked. Now humanity needed warriors to use it. Not just any warriors, special ones. People who understood what they were fighting for. Captain Daiho sat in his small apartment on Mars. He had not returned to active duty since New Seoul. Could not sleep. Could not eat properly. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the burning planet. Heard the screams. Felt his own failure. A message came through his comm unit. Orders to report to Olympus Station. Classified, urgent. Daiho did not hesitate. He took the shuttle immediately. Maybe this was his chance. Maybe he could do something. Make up for the 3,000 he saved and the 197,000 he could not. At Olympus, Sunwoo offered Daiho command of the first Ghost Protocol ship. They called it the Vengeance. Daiho looked at the sleek vessel through the observation window. It was beautiful, deadly, perfect. Sunwoo told him to pick his crew. Daiho knew exactly who he wanted. Survivors. People who lost someone at New Seoul. People who understood the cost of failure. People who would never hesitate when the moment came. Pilot Hyunwoo joined first. His daughter died at New Seoul. She was 7 years old. Loved to paint. Wanted to be an artist. The Vraxians turned her into ash and dust. Hyunwoo was the best pilot in the fleet. Now he had a reason to use those skills. Navigator Yuna lost 3 siblings. Weapons Officer Minho lost his parents. Engineer Junho lost his wife and son. One by one the crew assembled. 20 people. 20 stories of loss. 20 reasons to fight. They did not talk much about what they lost. Did not need to. They looked at each other and understood. This was not revenge. This was protection. Making sure no other family would suffer like they did. Admiral Jamin came out of retirement to command the overall fleet. He was 67 years old. Fought pirates in the early colony days. Knew war. Understood its costs. The Terran Council asked him personally. They needed someone who would not lose control. Someone who remembered that winning was not the same as becoming like the enemy. Jamin accepted. Not because he wanted to. Because he had to. Young officers like Daiho needed guidance. Needed someone to tell them when to stop. When enough was enough. War made people into monsters if they were not careful. Jamin would make sure humanity stayed human. The Terran Council held a final vote. Should they activate these projects? Should they use these weapons? The debate lasted 6 hours. Some council members said this made humanity no better than the Vraxians. Others said survival required hard choices. Chancellor Kyung-ho listened to both sides. Then he spoke. He said humanity spent 50 years being peaceful, building, sharing, hoping. And when the Vraxians killed their children, the galaxy did nothing. Told them to accept it. Know their place. The galaxy mistook mercy for weakness, mistook hope for inability to fight, mistook peace for helplessness. They were wrong about humanity. Humans always had 2 faces, one that built, one that protected what was built. The Vraxians forced them to show the second face, but Kyung-ho gave one warning. Humanity fought to protect, not to conquer. Fought to make sure no parent buried their child due to human weakness. The moment humanity became like the Vraxians, they lost everything worth protecting. Power without principles was just tyranny. The council voted. Authorization granted. The projects were approved. The weapons could be deployed, but with limits. Military targets only. Minimize civilian casualties. Offer surrender when possible. Humanity would show strength, not cruelty. 10 Ghost Protocol ships were completed. 10 crews trained and ready. Daeho's Vengeance was the flagship. The others had names like Shadow, Phantom, Spectre, names that meant invisible, names that meant fear. Before the mission launched, Ambassador Hyejin made one last diplomatic attempt. She traveled to the Vraxian homeworld, requested a meeting with the Emperor, offered peace terms, reparations for New Sol, trial for Admiral Krath, promise of no more attacks. The Vraxian Emperor refused to meet her, sent a message through subordinates. Humanity should be grateful only one colony was destroyed. More would follow if humans did not leave systems the Empire wanted. They had 1 month to evacuate 5 colonies, or face New Sol's fate again. Hyejin returned to Earth, reported to the Council, added one sentence to her report. Diplomacy had exhausted all options. Military response recommended. The order came through. Operation Ghost Protocol was approved. The 10 ships would strike Vraxian military targets across their empire. Show them humanity's strength. Show them the cost of killing human children. Show them that weak newcomers could bite back. Hard Daeho stood on the bridge of the Vengeance. His crew was at their stations, ready, waiting. Behind him, 9 other ghost ships powered up, each one invisible to sensors, each one carrying weapons the galaxy had never seen. Admiral Jamin's face appeared on the main screen. He looked at each ship's captain, looked at Daeho, gave a simple order. Execute Ghost Protocol. Make the Vraxians understand. But remember who you are. Remember what you fight for. To not become them. Daeho opened a fleet-wide channel, spoke to all 10 crews. He said this was for New Sol, for the 197,000. For every child who never got to grow up, for every parent who would never stop grieving. Today, humanity reminded the galaxy why peaceful people were dangerous when pushed too far. He gave the command. Engage Ghost Protocol. The 10 ships vanished from all sensors, disappeared from reality itself. They were going hunting. The Vraxians would learn what it meant to make humanity their enemy. They would learn humans had claws hidden beneath soft hands. The galaxy was about to discover humanity's other face, and it would never forget. The Vengeance dropped out of hyperspace 500,000 kilometers from Karath Prime. The Vraxian military station orbited a gas giant, deep in their core territory. This was Admiral Krath's home base, the same Krath who destroyed New Sol, the same fleet that murdered 197,000 humans. On the station, 4,000 Vraxian soldiers went about their normal duties. They felt safe here, 70 light-years from the nearest human colony, surrounded by the Empire's strongest defenses. Nobody could touch them here. Or so they believed. Captain Daeho studied his tactical display. The station's sensors swept space constantly, looking for threats, looking for enemies. They found nothing. The Vengeance was invisible. Ghost Protocol worked perfectly. The most advanced sensors in the Vraxian Empire could not detect one human ship floating right in front of them. Krath's flagship, the Dominator, sat docked at the main berth. A massive warship, 3,000 crew, enough firepower to destroy a dozen colonies. 4 battlecruisers patrolled nearby. Dozens of support vessels moved around the station. This was the heart of Vraxian military power. Daeho looked at his weapons officer. Minyo nodded. The Dark Star missile was ready. Targeted on the Dominator, Daeho could fire right now. Kill Krath and 3,000 Vraxians in 8 seconds. End this quickly, but that was not the plan. Humanity was not here just to kill. They were here to send a message. Show strength. Show capability. Show that humans could strike anywhere, anytime, but also show mercy. Show the difference between human justice and Vraxian brutality. Daeho opened a communication channel, broadcast on all Vraxian frequencies. His voice was calm, cold. He identified himself. Captain Daeho of the Terran Coalition, speaking on behalf of the 197,000 civilians Admiral Krath murdered. This was their reckoning. Chaos erupted on Karath Prime. Alarms screamed. Soldiers ran to battle stations. Sensor operators frantically swept space. Where was the human ship? How did it get here? Their scanners showed nothing. Empty space. But the voice was real. The threat was real. Admiral Krath rushed to the Dominator's bridge. Ordered full defensive screens. Demanded status reports. His officers had no answers. They could not fight what they could not see. Could not target what did not appear on sensors. The humans were ghosts. Minho fired the Dark Star missile. It accelerated to 30% of light speed in 3 seconds. The Vraxians never saw it coming. It hit the Dominator's forward section and detonated. A micro-singularity formed, a tiny black hole. For 8 seconds, it existed where the Dominator's bow used to be. Gravity stronger than anything natural pulled metal, equipment, people into the void. The ship's front section simply disappeared. Consumed, erased. Then the black hole evaporated, leaving a perfect spherical crater 200 meters wide. The Dominator did not explode. It just ended. Half the ship was gone. The back half tumbled away, trailing atmosphere and debris. 3,000 Vraxian crew became 1,500 in 8 seconds. Emergency systems failed. Power died. The mighty flagship became a floating coffin. Krath survived. His command center was in the aft section. He stared through the viewport at where his ship's front used to be. Just gone, no wreckage, no remains, just empty space. What kind of weapon did this? How did humans develop such technology? The 4 battlecruisers moved to attack. They fired blind. Plasma bolts streaked through space in every direction, hoping to hit something, hoping to hurt the invisible enemy. Every shot missed. The Vengeance did not even need to dodge. Engineer Soman launched Prometheus Chain. Nanite canisters shot toward the battlecruisers. Each canister held 50 million microscopic machines, too small to see, too small to stop. They spread out like clouds of dust. Reached the battlecruisers in minutes. The nanites burrowed through hull plating, found weapon systems, targeting computers, missile tubes, power conduits. They did not kill, did not destroy life support, just disabled everything that could fight. Within 4 minutes, all 4 battlecruisers were helpless. Engines worked. Crew alive, but every weapon was offline. They floated in space, unable to defend themselves. Deho broadcast again, told the Vraxian crews they had a choice. Humanity could have destroyed everyone, could have killed every person on the station, the way Krath destroyed New Sol. But humans were not Vraxians. They were offering mercy. Abandon the battlecruisers. Evacuate to the station. 30 minutes. The Vraxian crews did not hesitate. Life pods launched immediately. Hundreds of small craft fled to the station. They had no choice. Their ships were dead. Better to live and fight another day than die for pride. Krath watched from the station. Evacuated there after the Dominator was crippled. He understood now. This was not about victory. This was about sending a message. The humans were demonstrating their power, showing they could strike anywhere, destroy anything, but chose not to massacre everyone. Once all crews evacuated, the Vengeance fired conventional weapons. Not Dark Star missiles, regular kinetic rounds. Each battlecruiser took critical damage to engines and power cores. Not destroyed, crippled. They would need expensive salvage operations. Months of repairs. Billions of credits to fix. Deho made his final transmission. Told Krath to deliver a message to the Vraxian Empire. Tell the Galactic Council. Tell everyone who would listen. Humanity offered peace. Built colonies, not weapons. Raised children, not armies. The Vraxians mistook that for weakness. Killed 89,000 human children and expected acceptance. Now they understood. Humans always had the capacity for this level of warfare. Chose not to use it. Chose peace. The Vraxians forced humanity's hand. This was the face of humans when their young were murdered. Remember New Sol. Remember today. Pray they never had to demonstrate what humans were truly capable of. While the Vengeance struck Karath Prime, the other 9 ghost ships attacked across Vraxian space. Commander Unji hit 3 supply depots, destroyed military stockpiles but left civilian areas untouched. Captain Seojin disabled an entire fleet's command carrier using nanites. Lieutenant Hajun took out automated defense platforms protecting shipyards. Every strike followed the same pattern. Demonstrate overwhelming capability. Offer surrender. Minimize casualties. The message was consistent across all targets. Humanity could win this war, but preferred not to fight it. Would rather have peace, but would never be weak again. In 6 hours, 10 ships crippled the Vraxian military infrastructure across a dozen systems. The Empire lost 30% of its offensive capability. 8,000 soldiers died. Most of those were from the Dominator. Humanity suffered 0 casualties. Not 1 injury. Not 1 damaged ship. The ghost ships rendezvoused with Admiral Jamin's fleet at the rally point. All returned safely. Mission accomplished. Deho submitted his report. Felt nothing. No joy in the victory. No satisfaction in the revenge. Just empty. Krath was alive. The man who killed Minji and 197,000 others was alive. But orders were orders. Show strength, not cruelty. Pilot Hyunwoo found Daeho in the mess hall afterward, asked if he felt better. If this made up for New Seoul, Daeho shook his head. Nothing could make up for it. Nothing could bring back his daughter. But maybe this prevented the next New Seoul. Maybe another colony would be safe because they acted today. On Earth, Director Sunwoo received the tactical reports. Phase 1 complete. The Vraxians were hurt. Badly. But this was just the beginning. The Vraxian Empire was huge. 400 systems. They would not surrender easily. And the Galactic Council would have questions. Hard questions about weapons humanity claimed not to possess. News of the attack spread through the galaxy within hours. Every species heard what happened. 10 human ships appeared from nowhere, struck the mighty Vraxian Empire across multiple systems simultaneously, used weapons nobody had ever seen, then vanished without a trace. The galaxy was waking up to a new reality. Humanity was no longer the weak newcomer, the peaceful builders who could be pushed around. They were warriors now, hidden warriors with terrible weapons and the will to use them. Everyone had to decide how to respond to this new human face. And in the Vraxian Empire, Emperor Tharkanus received the reports with rage. His military humiliated, his fleets crippled. By humans, newcomers, weaklings, this could not stand. He would show them the price of challenging Vraxian power. He would mobilize the Grand Armada. 500 warships, enough to burn every human world to ash. The Galactic Council chambers buzzed with urgent voices. Representatives from 47 species gathered in emergency session. The holographic displays showed images from Karath Prime. Crippled battle cruisers. The Dominator's shattered hull. Vraxian crews evacuating in panic. Everyone saw what humanity did. Nobody could believe it. Ambassador Heejin stood at the human podium. Hostile stares came from every direction. The Vraxian envoy, Lord Therax, was already demanding sanctions. Several species agreed with him. The Vraxians were arrogant and cruel, yes, but they were powerful. Challenging them was dangerous. Better to stay neutral, stay safe. Council Arbiter Zaylan called for order. He was a Valorian elder. 200 years of diplomatic experience. He had seen wars before, but nothing like this. He demanded humanity explain these weapons, demanded to know how newcomers who achieved space travel only 80 years ago developed technology beyond anything the Council ever saw. Yeejin was ready for this. She activated her presentation, started with footage from New Seoul, made the Council watch everything. 3 hours of bombardment, hospitals burning, schools exploding, children dying. She did not sanitize it, did not make it easier to watch, made them see what humanity saw. The chamber fell silent. Even species hostile to humanity looked away. They had seen war before, but this was not war. This was extermination. This was choosing to kill civilians, to target the helpless, to destroy everything just because you could. Yeejin spoke. Her voice was steady. She reminded them she brought evidence of the massacre to this very council 6 months ago, asked for justice, demanded the Vraxians be punished. The council issued a censure, a letter of disapproval, nothing more. Told humanity to accept reality, accept that they were too small to matter. She asked the council a simple question. What did they expect humanity to do, roll over? Accept the slaughter of children? Wait for it to happen again? The Vraxians promised more attacks, demanded humanity evacuate 5 colonies or face New Seoul's fate again. What was humanity supposed to do? The council had no answer. They looked uncomfortable, shifted in their seats. They knew she was right. They failed humanity, failed to protect a peaceful species, and now that species protected itself. Could not blame them for that. Yeejin continued, explained how humanity developed these weapons. The truth was simple. They had the theoretical knowledge for decades, chose not to build them, believed in this council, believed in galactic law, believed being good neighbors meant being safe. New Seoul taught them otherwise. She showed attack footage from Karath Prime, pointed out how humanity targeted military assets, how they offered surrender, how they minimized casualties. The Vraxians showed no such mercy at New Seoul, killed everyone indiscriminately. Humanity could have done the same. Chose not to. That was the difference. The council fractured immediately. Some species supported humanity. The Vexari Union spoke up first. They suffered Vraxian expansion 300 years ago. Lost colonies, lost people. They understood humanity's pain, applauded humanity's restraint and victory, said if they had humanity's weapons back then, things would have been different. The Kalari Confederacy admitted they had been building military forces too. The Vraxians threatened them constantly, took their trade routes, bullied them economically. They were tired of it. Glad someone finally stood up to the Empire. The Thorian Republic proposed giving humanity a permanent council seat. They were pragmatic, saw which way the wind was blowing. Humanity just demonstrated advanced technology and military capability. Better to have them as friends than enemies. But others feared humanity's new power. The Draxian Collective worried about weapon proliferation, demanded humanity share Ghost Protocol technology with the Council, make it available to everyone, level the playing field. Hijin refused immediately. Humanity would not give weapons to species who might use them against humans. The Larathi Empire, historical allies of the Vraxians, threatened trade sanctions. Several minor species feared being caught in an escalating conflict, wanted peace, wanted things to go back to normal, did not understand that normal was already gone. Lord Therax finally stood to speak. His pride was wounded. His empire was humiliated. He claimed humanity's attacks violated dozens of interstellar laws, demanded reparations, demanded human leaders stand trial for war crimes. His voice shook with barely controlled rage. Hijin waited until he finished, then asked one simple question. Would Therax agree to the same terms? Would Admiral Krath stand trial for New Sol? Would the Vraxian Empire pay reparations for 197,000 dead civilians? Would they commit here and now to never attacking human colonies again? Therax refused, said New Sol was a territorial dispute, said the deaths were regrettable but legal under Vraxian conquest doctrine, said the Empire had rights that humanity did not, rights earned through strength and history. Humans were newcomers, needed to know their place. Hijin turned to face the entire council. Her next words would define humanity's relationship with the galaxy. She said if Therax would not accept peace terms, then there was nothing more to discuss. Humanity would defend itself, would not share weapons with species who might use them against humans, would not disarm while threats remained, and humanity would remember which species stood with them today, which species stood with their children's murderers. Which species had courage to do what was right and which species chose convenience over justice. Those memories would shape future relationships for generations. The session ended in chaos. The council could not agree on anything. Some wanted sanctions on humanity. Others wanted sanctions on the Vraxians. Most wanted to stay neutral, avoid choosing sides, wait to see who won. After the official session, Hijin held private meetings. These conversations would matter more than any public debate. The Vexari ambassador offered a mutual defense pact. Hijin accepted immediately. First major ally secured. The Kalari trade minister proposed economic alliance. The Kalari controlled shipping routes through 60 systems. Their support meant human colonies could trade freely even if Vraxians imposed sanctions. Hijin agreed. Second ally secured. Even Arbiter Zaylan spoke with her privately. Off the record, he said what humanity did was illegal by council law, but also necessary. Maybe the most important thing to happen in his lifetime. The galaxy needed to see that empires could not act with impunity, but he warned her. The Vraxians would not forgive this, would not forget. Desperate empires did terrible things. On the Vraxian homeworld, Emperor Tharkanus read reports from across his empire. Military advisors demanded immediate retaliation. Launch everything. Destroy humanity completely. Economic advisors warned that humanity's strikes already cost 15% of military capacity. Intelligence services admitted they had no defense against Ghost Protocol. The Emperor was old, 89 in a long line of rulers. He built his reign on Vraxian supremacy, on the principle that his species was superior, stronger, better. He could not accept that humans, newcomers barely out of their own solar system, had humiliated his fleets. He made his decision. Totalva, not just military targets, everything, every human colony, every trade route, every ally who supported them. Complete annihilation. Show the galaxy the price of challenging the Vraxian Empire. Make humanity a lesson for anyone who dared to dream of resistance. He issued the decree. The Grand Armada would mobilize 500 warships, every available vessel. The largest fleet assembled in 200 years. They would crush humanity so thoroughly that no species would ever dare challenge Vraxian power again. Not for 1,000 years. Word reached Earth within hours. Intelligence operatives throughout the Vraxian Empire reported the same thing. The Grand Armada was forming. 500 warships, enough firepower to sterilize every human colony 10 times over. Launch date, 3 weeks. Director Sunwoo called an emergency meeting. Presented the intelligence to the Terran Council. Chancellor Kyung-ho asked the critical question. Could they stop it? Could 10 ghost ships face 500 warships? Sunwoo showed projections. With current forces, humanity could inflict massive casualties, destroy maybe 60 to 70% of the Armada, but some would get through. Maybe 100 ships, enough to devastate 3 to 5 colonies. Estimated human casualties, 400,000 to 800,000 dead. Another new soul, maybe several. Admiral Jamin appeared via hologram. He had a different idea. Do not fight 500 ships. Cut off the head. The Vraxian Empire was highly centralized. Everything required Emperor's direct authorization. The Grand Armada would not launch without Emperor Tharkanus' personal command, so do not target the fleet. Target him. The room fell silent. Jamin was proposing assassination, not of a military commander, a head of state. It would be unprecedented. Illegal by every law humanity claimed to uphold. Against everything they stood for. But the alternative was letting 500 warships destroy everything humans built. Letting hundreds of thousands more die. The Terran Council had to choose. Keep the moral high ground and watch colonies burn. Or cross a line they swore never to cross. Become assassins. Become something darker. But maybe save hundreds of thousands of lives. Maybe prevent another new soul. The hardest choice humanity ever faced. The Terran Council sat in a secure conference room deep beneath Geneva. The weight of their decision pressed down on everyone. Chancellor Kyung-ho laid out the options clearly. 3 choices, each one terrible in its own way. Option 1, fight the Grand Armada head-on. Current projections said humanity could destroy 60 to 70% of the 500 warships. But the rest would get through. 3 to 5 colonies would be devastated. 4 to 800,000 humans would die. Maybe more. Another new soul but worse. Option 2, evacuate all colonies. Retreat to Earth and Mars. Give up 50 years of expansion. Surrender everything humans built. Let the Vraxians take it all. Casualties would be minimal in the short term, but humanity would be confined to 2 systems. At Vraxian mercy, forever. Option 3, Admiral Jamin's proposal. Assassination, kill Emperor Tharkanus before he could launch the Armada. 1 target, 1 strike. Potentially 0 casualties if successful. But humanity would become assassins. Would cross a line they could never uncross. Would become the kind of species they hated. The debate lasted 6 hours. Council member Daesam spoke against assassination. She was passionate. Said if humanity did this, they became no better than the Vraxians. What was the point of survival if they lost their principles? If they became monsters to fight monsters? Council member Bora argued back. Said they were not targeting civilians. Emperor Tharkanus personally ordered New Soul's destruction. Personally mobilized the Grand Armada. He was a military target. Legitimate. And if they did nothing, hundreds of thousands more would die. Human children. Human families. How was that moral? Director Sunwoo provided cold intelligence. If Tharkanus died, his son Velroth would become emperor immediately. Intelligence suggested Velroth was different from his father. More pragmatic. Less arrogant. Privately opposed the Grand Armada's cost. He might negotiate. Might seek peace. Not guaranteed, but possible. Some council members walked out in protest. Could not be part of this decision. Others demanded immediate action. The debate went in circles. Nobody wanted to make this choice, but somebody had to. Chancellor Kyung-ho made an unusual decision. Before voting, they would consult the survivors of New Seoul. If anyone had the right to decide humanity's response, it was them. They suffered most. They lost most. They should have a voice. 5 survivors came to the council chambers. Captain Daeho, who led the evacuation. Dr. Jun, who lost her medical team. Teacher Min-jae, who watched students die. And Jiwon, the little girl who lost her family. She was 10 years old now. The council explained everything. The 3 options. The consequences of each. Asked for their thoughts. Captain Deho spoke first. He was a soldier, understood necessary evils. If killing one tyrant saved hundreds of thousands of innocent lives, it was not murder. It was protection. The Vraxians never gave human children a choice. Humans should make the choice the Vraxians never offered. Dr. June disagreed. She was a doctor, took an oath to preserve life. Every life. Even Vraxian lives. Tharkanus was a monster, yes. But if humanity became assassins, they were admitting might made right. That whoever had bigger weapons got to decide morality. The Vraxians believed that. Humans should not. Then Jiwan asked to speak. She was young. The youngest person in the room. The council hesitated but agreed. She said she did not understand all the politics. But she remembered watching her home burn. Remembered her parents dying. Remembered thinking, why did nobody stop this? All the powerful aliens with their rules and councils did nothing. She said if the council could stop it from happening again, they should, even if it was hard. Even if it was wrong, because doing nothing was also a choice. And she did not want any other kid to remember what she remembered. Did not want anyone else to watch their family die while the galaxy stood by. The room was silent after she finished. A 10-year-old girl just gave them the answer. Sometimes the right choice and the easy choice were different things. Sometimes you had to do something terrible to prevent something worse. The council voted, 13 in favor of assassination, 8 against, 2 abstained. Operation Thronefall was authorized. The mission would proceed. Chancellor Kyung-ho made a final statement for the record. Said they understood the implications, understood they were compromising principles they claimed absolute. But they were also responsible for protecting their people, for ensuring New Seoul never happened again. If history judged them as murderers, they would bear that burden. So their children did not have to bury theirs. Director Sunwoo assembled the strike team. Captain Deho volunteered immediately. Admiral Jaemin refused, said Deho lost too much. This mission needed cold precision, not vengeance. Someone who could separate personal feelings from tactical necessity. Jaemin selected Commander Nari, pilot of the stealth ship, Shadow. She never lost anyone to the Vraxians, had no personal stake, but she was the best pilot in the fleet. Perfect for the mission. The plan was simple. Shadow would use Ghost Protocol to reach the Vraxian homeworld, penetrate their defenses, deploy 1 Dark Star missile at the Imperial Palace. 8 seconds. 1 micro-singularity. The Emperor dies. Crown Prince Velroth inherits, hopefully negotiates peace. But there was a problem. The Imperial Palace sat in the middle of the capital city. 40 million Vraxian civilians lived there. A standard Dark Star missile would kill thousands of bystanders. Completely unacceptable. Dr. Taewon worked day and night, created a precision variant. The micro-singularity would last only 2 seconds instead of 8, radius limited to 50 meters. It would consume the throne room and nothing else. Collateral damage minimal. Maybe a dozen palace guards, tow civilians. Shadow launched from Jupiter Station 3 days later, crossed 70 light-years in hyperspace, arrived at the Vraxian homeworld undetected. The planet had 400 defense platforms. Each could destroy a battleship. None of them saw Shadow coming. Commander Nari positioned the ship in high orbit, targeted the Imperial Palace, waited for confirmation that Tharkanus was in his throne room. Surveillance showed him there, meeting with military advisors, giving final authorization for the Grand Armada's launch. Timing was critical. Too early and Tharkanus might survive in a reinforced section. Too late and the Armada would launch. Nari calculated, recalculated, got final clearance from Earth. Chancellor Kyung-ho personally authorized the strike. Nari heard Kyung-ho's last words through her headset. "We are trusting you with humanity's future. Make it count," she acknowledged. Targeted. Fired. The precision Dark Star missile accelerated to 30% of light speed. Covered the distance in seconds. Impacted the throne room exactly where predicted. The micro-singularity formed. Lasted 2 seconds, then evaporated. The throne room was gone. Emperor Tharkanus was gone. 13 palace guards were gone. But the surrounding palace stood intact. The city was undamaged. 40 million civilians never knew humanity's weapon passed overhead. Shadow jumped to hyperspace immediately, before the Vraxians could respond, before anyone could track them. 3 days later, returned to Jupiter Station. Mission accomplished. 0 human casualties. On Earth, reports confirmed the Emperor's death. The Council did not celebrate. Chancellor Kyung-ho felt no joy. Just emptiness. Humanity crossed a line today. Became assassins. Killed a head of state to prevent a war. Future historians would debate if they were right. If the ends justified the means. If they saved lives or just became comfortable taking them. Kyung-ho recorded a message for the historical archives. Said he did not know if they made the right choice. Only knew they made the choice they thought would save the most people. Hoped humanity never became comfortable with such decisions. Hoped they never forgot the cost. Hoped their children lived in a galaxy where such choices were never necessary. Now humanity waited. Crown Prince Velroth was emperor now. Would he seek revenge? Or would he see reason? Would he understand that continuing this war would destroy both sides? Or would his pride demand blood for blood? The entire galaxy held its breath. Humanity just assassinated the emperor of a 400-system empire. Either they prevented a catastrophic war and saved hundreds of thousands of lives, or they just started something far worse, something that would consume everything. Only time would tell which. In the Vraxian Imperial Palace, the new Emperor Velroth stood where his father died, looked at the perfect sphere of empty space, understood exactly what message humanity sent. They could kill anyone, anywhere, anytime, but chose precision, chose to spare millions of civilians, showed restraint even in assassination. Now he had to decide. Continue his father's war and risk everything, or choose a different path. The path of peace, the hardest choice a new emperor ever faced.